because we needed to up it from the Band-Aids on Monday, you know what I mean? Whoo! Now I'm very curious. Oh, we got a good turnout today. We got a good turnout. Cheers, everybody, huh? Oh, yeah. So, I mean, just a reminder of folks, I'm glad to see a lot of people today because a day like today is even more important from like an educational standpoint, right? I'm super eager to hear people's takes. I was seeing what some people were saying online. Hopefully I can even get this thing up. I'll just keep this, jeez. Yeah, so lots to talk about. Actually, I mean, a little bit to talk about today, right? Most people are going to be talking about the price act. Oh, shit, is the stream going okay? It's telling me it's a little bit slow. I hope it's not too slow. I closed out of the spreadsheets, I promise. So, I mean, the price action, the big news here, but again, I tweeted that out today. It was a tweet, right? I included that link. So we'll go through these charts here, but this is the thing. So number one is just a reminder for folks, right? This stream, educational in nature, right? That's the idea. And I keep on telling people this, that my style of investing, I tend to have a different time frame from some folks. This is why I'm curious to see people's take on the stream today. Like, how are people interpreting this price action, right? This is why I tossed out that chart list that I shared today on Twitter, because for my style of analysis, again, I have a more aggressive style. It may not be suitable for anyone on this stream, right? I always say that. But for my style, like when I look at this price action, I'm like, okay, yeah. I've been saying this over and over again from this charts perspective, huh? I do get these charts up, but just quickly, when I back out to like this 5-year time horizon, right? I'm like in this $11 to $16 range, right? Like I say, the stream doesn't matter. Not the stream doesn't matter. The content of the stream is going to be roughly the same in this box because that's my investment style. That said, I know other people might be interpreting these moves differently. That's why I'm super curious to see what people say today. Because for my style, it's like, all right, yeah, we're still in that 11 to 16, like 11, 16, 11, 17, this box. Like that's my time horizon, right? Now, other people might have different time horizons, so they may interpret these short-term moves differently than me, right? This isn't about a right or wrong. This just might be a different style of analysis, different investment style, and so forth, right? That's why it's very important. If you haven't seen those investment styles on the YouTube channel that I uploaded, you got to check them out for some context here, right? And as far as, we're talking about technical stuff, right? Which is marginal analysis. Technical analysis for my style of investing is marginal, right? We've had no new news from GameStop. Nothing has changed from the fundamentals perspective, right? And as most folks now know, I mean, my thesis is grounded in the fundamentals. Check out all the GameStop videos that I uploaded, right? And so we've had no news from GameStop. We had some news, obviously, from Sony and Microsoft. And my interpretation of that was, Sony was really talking up the demand for this stuff, which a lot of us kind of expected, right? This is a huge console cycle that we expected there to be tremendous demand. Most people are saying that, right? And that was the new news from a fundamental perspective, but it was kind of validating what most of us already thought, that so it wasn't like groundbreaker or anything like that. But it was still good to see Sony kind of validate some of our opinions there. And I know, so that seems like it's on track, right? But no news from GameStop, nothing new on that front. So like this is why, for my style, right, I find it super beneficial to be a fundamental investor, because like on days like on weeks like this, the thesis isn't really generally, it isn't impacted. I mean, for my personal thesis, it's not even impacted, right? Because now, like I said, when the facts change, you can change your mind, right? For me, I'm watching that $11 range, like that low $11 range, right? Whatever that. Oh no, I should do that. Oh, I did do that. I got it up right here. Can I zoom in a bit? So here's my point, is for my investment style here, let me go to the weekly. Nothing really changes in my analysis, you know what I mean? If anything, and now obviously educational, right? There's no recommendations for adding to a position or trimming. We're not going to get into that type of stuff, but generally speaking, forget about GameStop, but when you have these types of pullbacks, when you're in a position, these are the opportunities to potentially add. I'm not saying you should do that, right? It may be you shouldn't even be invested in a stock like GameStop. These super risky stocks, they sometimes, or even many times, are not good fit for individual investors. So that's one thing to always bear in mind. But if you were dealing in a stock, right, I'm trying to get to the educational aspect, that these are the times where you might be, like on those pullbacks, you're waiting for those times. And that's why I always talk about, for me, like when a stock breaks out, like it's tough for me as a value investor to like add on the breakout, because like psychologically I like need that pullback. And so and what happens is with the market, it's not that uncommon to see it in the market where just stocks collectively go down, right? Obviously, this is the backdrop here, is that we're in this box, right? But the whole market has got, what did the market go down today? Did it bounce back? No, it ended weak, didn't it? I think it ended weak. Okay, yeah. So oh, I can even pull this up. Oh, look at this. Like that's a bad week on the market, right? And so these happen. These happen on the market. Like this is typical for the market. And it's almost like for many stocks, not all stocks, but generally like value type stocks, right? Especially those risky ones, they get beat up on weeks like this, right? And they always need to be prepared for these types of things. That happens. To say nothing about GameStop, right? Like I said, the fundamentals are unchanged by this price action. And for my style of marginal technical analysis, it's not even out of the box. So that's why. That's why I'm curious to see people's takes, because if people are like, oh, this pullback's so much, it's like these volatile high risk stocks do this. They go down, they go up. And like I said, all else equal, you like to see it incrementally creeping up. That way, if you do have a down or even a pop off it, then you're at that new level, right? That's what I mean. It's marginal analysis for my style. That's why it's that fundamental side of things from which you can get conviction in a position, right? And again, this is aside from this is all these types of positions. That's why I always say it seems tough for me to not be a fundamental investor. I understand people can do it, and maybe they're successful at it. I don't know. But for someone like me, it seems like I can understand why people will be like, oh, this is going all over the place. And I'm just like, well, because I've done this analysis, you know what I mean? It's like, it's barely changed, right? And we did go down. Oh, I did see. I posted this. Look at this. It went right down at the, oh, you can't really see it, can you? It went right down there, right near the end of the day. That's because I did see that. That's why. And then I looked at the market. I saw it sold down. So it's right there, right? Now, if it goes down below, I'm not. Technical analysis, marginal stuff. If it drops down below there, we reassess. These really short-term charts, right? I call myself like a longer-term value investor. I got an intraday chart up here, but I'm trying to get that like short-term momentum type stuff just to gauge it. That's not my. It's like I say, marginal analysis. I'm just taking a peek at it, see what happens, and then I went all the way down here. You'd see these boxes. If we start going below 11, then I'm like, all right, maybe things are settling down a bit here, and that like momentum and that really positive short-term sentiment. Like I say, usually I don't have strong opinions about like the short and intermediate term. I don't. I have my conviction is in that those longer-term moves. You know what I mean? That's my higher conviction analysis, right? This shorter term stuff, like this isn't high conviction stuff. This is just, hey, this is what I'm looking at. And if it breaks below 11, which it could, like in the near term, then I reassess. All right. Maybe sentiment wasn't quite as short term bullish as I thought. But unless that fundamental thesis changed, like it's all good. You know what I mean? It's chill. And then I back out to the weekly too, and it's a very similar looking. You can see in these charts why I'm looking at that like $10 to $11 range. But really, until we get into that thing, like you're just sitting back and watching. You know what I mean? And then you're checking out Microsoft and the Sony stuff too, right? That's the stuff that came out. I got a couple things I'm gonna bring up here. Hold up. Oh, I pulled up the Sony stuff. Check this out. So this is 6. So Sony does you don't get this from Microsoft, but they broke out, and you can see the physical digital breakdown. I always liked that I included this in one of those early GameStop videos, right? Or the last one, and you could see it was interesting that. So you can still see digital full game downloads still quite a bit up, right? But physical declined a little bit less than digital this quarter. And importantly, you can see this number right here. This is that full game software digital. It's at 60%, right? So this is the type of data I included in that latest GameStop video, because this stuff's meaningful, right? This is Sony saying, hey, here's what this breakdown is right now. And one thing I forget if I mentioned in the GameStop video, I can't remember. But in the early weeks, in the early months of a new console cycle, folks tend to skew more physical, both the consoles and also the discs. That's where you tend to see more physical demand. That's why that was important for that downside protection from GameStop. And so you could see this drop. Look at it. It fell from 74% to 59%. I thought that was interesting. Obviously, we had quite a bit happening. You can understand why digital downloads were large this quarter with the pandemic and so forth. That's why I mentioned in that video, the GameStop video, I'm like, you should, as stores are opening back up, expect this to bounce back. Who knows who will level off here, but 74% for Sony was a bit high. You saw Nintendo was in closer to the 50% range. But so this stuff, I was taking a peek at this. I thought this was great. I like seeing this stuff, right? And what else did I pop up? I'll get to this. Let me do this one first. So this one I didn't see. So who was it that posted this? It was it Hugo? Oh no. Did I like it? Where is it? Oh, Smash. Thank you, Smash. Cheers. Smash had pointed this out, and then this article will come on after. It was just talking about there's no real info here. It was just, hey, heads up, GameStop kind of changing around their store, right? And this makes sense because like they've been focused on merchandising here and how to reorganize the store and that type of stuff. I mean, it's this is marginal type analysis too. It doesn't impact, like, this is stuff that I expect to be happening. You know what I mean? Even though I don't know exactly what they should be doing and all that stuff. And I'm like, all right, they're making those changes. I was keeping an eye. Just I saw that tweet come through when Smash had tossed me on there. Oh yeah, okay, they're doing some stuff, right? But not much else to take away. It makes sense. I'm like, yeah, you should be doing that. I didn't even know that they were still putting all those discs on the shelves. I don't think they do that at all GameStops. But I'm like, yeah, that makes sense because it just takes up space in the store and so forth. And obviously, with some of these transforming some of the stores, you want a little bit extra space on that, right? And okay, so I thought this was good. I had seen this was CU had tweeted this out. And I thought this was interesting, too. I don't have the full article. It's just a headline. But the gaming brand's dominating sponsored influencer posts on YouTube and Instagram. This is where we're talking about how GameStop has this Power Up Rewards database. And, like, there's this more targeted advertising campaigns from gaming companies. I don't know who the gaming brands are. It's besides the point. But GameStop, and this is what I mean. Like, this is an opportunity for GameStop that they haven't really been leveraging in the past. A new digital type potential revenue stream that's different from like a Microsoft type partnership, and that's what I mean. That's why I get this up. Yeah. You know, I got this up. I'm always going to have this up. Just another one of those possible initiatives that they have. So anyway, I don't have the whole arc. It doesn't matter. I was just like, oh yeah, we kind of talked about that. So I was glad to see you had tossed that out. That was great. And you know what this ties into too? I had this up. I wanted to. This ties into this tweet that I had just. What was it? This weekend, right? Where was it? Oh, I liked it. Am I in the likes? No, I'm not in the likes. No, I did. I retweeted. Did I retweet? Oh, yeah. So this is what I was saying. This is the opportunity I felt. So Maven Fund here had tossed out how if Cohen is successful in helping the company leverage their Power Up reward data to market to direct consumer, it could be 200 million to 600 million EBITDA opportunity stock. That's what I mean. Like, if they pull this off, right, it's all probabilities, right? But if they pull it off, it could be substantial upside. And so I keep on thinking about that whole bull versus bear case, right? And I keep on thinking how it's that optionality that maybe many folks aren't pricing in, even if it's still not likely, but it's that optionality. So I was thinking of this today in light of this article. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm thinking, oh yeah, like there's a lot of eyeballs on games for extended periods of time too. There's tremendous opportunity there, though they could improve efficacy. Stephanie Wisink was talking about that too. I mean, do I bring it up again? How many times can I bring up this quick Seeking Alpha summary of it? But I keep on bringing. I like bringing these up. I know I keep on bringing up the same stuff, but these are the types of things. Like I talk about that optionality, right? She was just saying how this was generally, but just improve ad efficacy for vendors. So like gaming type vendors, right? And like and then you see something like this, like, yeah, this makes sense because there's a lot of a potential opportunity here. And then a big question is, right, and this is a legitimate question, how does GameStop leverage this, right? That's fair. We do know that they have quite a bit of data via their Power Up rewards. It's likely that like a Ryan Cohen type sees the potential value there, right? That's kind of what this is getting at right there. You know what I mean? And I suspect that's part of, I mean, he hasn't spoken about it, right? What the hell do we know? But I'm like, yep, there's probably quite a bit of opportunity there. There's probably potential opportunity, right? Then if they can pull it off, that's a whole other question. That's why I said it. I forget which GameStop video, but I go, there's the first question of even if there's something here for GameStop, right? Even if there is a potential way that they can transform their business stuff, that's number one. And then number two is, can they even pull it off? Even if there is this opportunity here, can management pull it off? And this is the big thing for my analysis, right? Because for my analysis, I'm like, as long as management seems like they've been doing the right thing, they seem more than competent. Like, I feel like they've been kicking ass on it, and this is why, like, Burry was agreeing with kind of management's takes on some of these things, too, why I am as well. The more I see out of this management team in the board so far, it's been going well. Doesn't mean it goes well to perpetuity, right? That doesn't mean that. But the odds have been increasing that they're kind of been doing the right thing here, the right stuff. And so the odds of these potential new revenue streams and them locking deals down, you know what I mean? They're increasing because I feel like they're not, the odds of them blowing it are lower for me. And I keep on wondering too, if that's some folks maybe are assigning a higher probability to that than I am, like a much higher probability to them, like really dropping the ball. Oh, I pulled this up too. And Dimitri, this was, so we didn't go through this last time. Dimitri posted about this on his latest Seeking Alpha article, right? But I went through, so I won't go through just yet. But I went through this conference that Sherman and Bell were talking at, and I kind of just highlighted some points. Really, if you haven't seen this, go. It's on the GameStop website, but you can go look up Dimitri's recent comments and pull it up. But I boxed off. There's some really good stuff in here that it's largely a review of a lot of stuff we talk about on this stream. But I like they've been talking about this. This was in January 14th, boom. And I still feel like people are missing certain aspects of it, or they're just really, really discounting that they could pull it off. And that's fair. Like, if people are going to discount it, even I was discounting this much more heavily in the early. Like, when this first came out, I'm like, yeah, okay, let's see. And they even talk about how it's going to be a rough couple of quarters, but how they're expecting later in the year, right? As many people would expect because of the new consoles and stuff. But they kind of laid out the plan. You know what I mean? And so it's good to review, just like Dimitri's posting a lot of these quotes from old conference calls and from this too. It's terrific. But you can see they're following their plan. They even talk about how they're focusing on that first pillar, like cost initiatives and so forth. And if we'll have time, I'll go through just so I'm not going to read the whole damn thing here, but I'm just going to go through, just kind of reiterate the fact that they seem like they're on track and they get it. That's the important part. They get it and they seem like they're trying. Doesn't mean they definitely pull everything off. Everything's a probability, right? But so anyway, let me just pull that aside right there. And anything? No, and then just quickly, let me just go through these charts real quick, right? And so this intraday chart, right? Marginal. All this is marginal analysis. All these charts. I mean, a little bit less so the weekly, and the monthly and the weekly, but they're all really pretty similar charts. But so I give a little bit more. I pay a little bit more attention to this, but it's still marginal, right? The fundamental thesis is what is. That's the thing. I keep on saying that. Like you see me use technical analysis, right? But I always conviction is grounded in the fundamentals. I don't understand how you could ever have high conviction based strictly on a chart. I could never have high conviction. That's why I say when there's some play. We even talked about. Well, I didn't pull up Bitcoin today. What's Bitcoin doing today? Oh, let me just. Just a chart like Bitcoin or like a Tesla. All these charts, like they're just chart based. Like I could never have high conviction in this stuff. You know what I mean? Maybe there's other folks out there who do, but I don't. So it's just like this margin stuff I'm looking at. But yeah, it's a little bit bullish. It's a little bit bearish, but it's just never high conviction for me. Contrast that with my fundamental. That's why I really dig into the fundamentals. Take a long time. That's why I say it's a good time. It's a good thing for me, for my style. When a stock does nothing for a year, when it does nothing for a year, it's good. It gives me more time to dig in, more time to reassess, to watch price action. I bolt that on too. But anyway. So, like, when I'm looking at, like, intraday stuff, come on. Like, that's just all right, let's just see how sentiment is. But it's funny, we kind of ended up right on that green line, right? Not that is that all that meaningful, but that's what I'm showing you this so you can see what I'm looking at. And then I saw it got oversold on this intraday, 15-minute intraday. I'm like, damn, at the time, it was still holding up. It still never got down there because it was like a higher low. But then come the end of the day, it, like, kind of got back down into that range. So it's, like, right there. But I was noticing, I'm like, oh, it's oversold, and it was still kind of holding up okay. But and then lower volume, I was just pointing out the lower volume. But I'm still noticing the higher highs, lower volume. But it can change. If, like I say, technical analysis for me is marginal. For other folks, it's more meaningful for their styles. And as they would say, like as the chart changes, you just change your mind. Like it's fine. And but not for the fundamental thesis. For me to change my fundamental thesis, obviously I need quite a bit more, right? Significantly more than a damn chart. Just makes me reassess that like short-term sentiment psychology type stuff. But for the daily, this barely registers with me, right? You can see it's still in that box. It was still overbought. We're right at 50, that pullback. It's going to be interesting. I'm very curious to see what it does tomorrow, right? Oh, we were right at the 20 day. It just closed right below it, so that's a bit meaningful, right? A little bit in the context of this chart, I mean, right? Y'all know this now. And then the weekly, same box. It was overbought. Like the overbought nature is bullish, but then they pull back, and then you reassess and stuff. And then the monthly. So everything else looked the same. You know what I mean? And then the increased volume. Anyway, I just thought I'd share that, and this is the stuff I was peeking at. But again, as we all know on this stream, I'll be curious to see everyone's. Again, cheers everybody. I'm glad to see so many folks here. Like for an educational stream, these are the days. These are the days that are important, right? And because you share your thoughts on how you're thinking about stuff, how maybe price action is impacting your analysis. You can see how my more aggressive approach might view some of these moves, right? That doesn't mean that's a suitable approach for you, right? But even still, that's the idea, is that you can at least see how a more aggressive style might interpret some of these moves. You know what I mean? But of course, never a recommendation or anything like that. But I still I always thought that it's super important to see that, and that's why I'm like trying to share my analysis here, right? And what we'll also do today, as I pulled up some of these things, we'll go through some of the broad market, not just the charts for GameStop, right? Because these always happen in context of something else, right? Like, GameStop's a little bit unique in that we can look at how other gaming stocks have performing this week. We can also look at how, like, consumer discretionary broadly is performing, and then how the market is performing. And so in that context, you know what I mean? Like, you don't just look at this chart by itself. How is the whole sector doing? How's the industry doing? How's the sector doing? How's gaming doing? How's the market doing? And when you see the market tanking like that, like these moves are less meaningful for someone like me. If this was happening and the market was going up, we'd be talking about this different. If you had the same exact chart, but the market was like up or flat, we'd be like, whoa, 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 whoa. I'd be like, whoa, 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 what's going on here? This is a little bit more meaningful than if the stock market was, you know what I mean? Like some of this stuff I know goes without saying, but it bears repeating on days like today. It just does. So that's what I want to mention. So I got some charts pulled up here. Yeah, look at that. Is this the weekly? Oh, that's the daily. Oh, that was today. So today was a big down day, huh? Open, a gap down, big down. How about the weekly? Oh, look at that, huh? Even still, so it's still kind of in this box, right? It happens quick, so it takes people by surprise. It's like, whoa, what the hell? But I see this, I'm like, all right, yeah. And again, these days and these weeks happen in the market. This is how markets work. It's not that uncommon. What was it? Was it 2017 where it was a little bit uncommon? It was like just cranking higher with very little volatility. That was more aberrant, you know what I mean? These bigger days and weeks, like, not uncommon. So I just mean always be prepared for this type of stuff. It just, mentally, right? Okay, let's get into it. Hoping I'm not falling too far behind. What is it, 7? Oh, man, I talk way too long. Cheers, Henry. Welcome. Oh, Henry, PBF. Oh, what did PBF do today? Oh, see? Okay, this is meaningful, right? There we go. This is why it's like you watching the chart, you'd be like, all right, this is kind of looking interesting. Maybe in the Roaring Kitty portfolio, okay, this kind of makes some sense. Maybe, again, not recommendations, right? For this more aggressive Roaring Kitty portfolio, I view these types of setups as like, all right, we're here, we're retesting that previous low. Let's see what happens from here. But then from my style, what I like to see is, I sometimes like to see it crash through, because we were talking about like the potential multi-baggers, right? What are some potential multi-baggers? But really, you want to get your ass kicked. Sometimes you need to get your ass kicked to get those big upsides, right? So with an interesting company like PBF, I'm like, oh, wouldn't this be interesting if it falls from 5 to 4 to 3 to 2? And because that's where you have that tremendous, like, it could be that the thesis remains unchanged. It could be liquidity risks have increased or credit risks have increased, right? That's why you always have to dig in. That's the fundamental aspect, right? But I see this and I think, whoa, that's bearish, right? On a short, is this the daily? This is the daily. So I back out to the weekly, right? And there you go. That's a little bit bearish. It's just one couple of days, maybe 1 week. If you see it down another week, right, then it's like, all right, this is really a downward move. But even still, this is a red flag. Thank you, Henry, for reminding me of that. I mean, I was going to go through these names. I did see that it was a whole bunch of GameStop didn't look like it was as bad of a performer today relative to some other names. Of course, I saw it was down yesterday too, right? What was it down yesterday? 12.50? I forget. Okay, let me keep going. Oh, yeah, we were doing over-under. Yeah. Well, it's hard to compete against them. When the market's selling off like this, that's what I mean. If it's a value stock, like, even sometimes it doesn't even, I don't want to say it doesn't matter, but this is why it's the good thing with GameStop this time around, right? For those longs, the longs who have been in GameStop for so long, like these days are like, not these days, even these weeks, we're kind of used to this a little bit. I almost want to say inured to the pain, and that's just the way it goes with some of these value stocks. But GameStop in particular, because sentiment had historically been so bearish. But this time around with GameStop on these big down, like the last time we had huge down weeks and down moves and stuff. Do I still got it up here? It was like back. Let me just see here. Like we haven't had it in a bit of a while, maybe a couple weeks back. That 1 week, is this the weekly? And then it's been a while since we had big weeks. But what I'm getting at is that this time we're in an uptrend. We're in a bullish uptrend. All these other times, the backdrop was bearish. Now, some people look back longer term and they go, oh, this is still bearish, right? Some people do that. And I think many of us would counter with, oh, well, the story has changed significantly since then. That's why it's important to look at the fundamentals, right? But so the backdrop now is much more bullish than it was historically, and you're more of an uptrend, right? And so that can kind of support a stock. It can, doesn't mean it will, but it can much more so than it did in the past. That's why I was saying, like, back in March and April, I was kind of looking for stocks that were in strong uptrends. And as it stands right now, GameStop has been in an uptrend these past couple of weeks and months. It may not, maybe that breaks. Maybe it breaks below 11 and 10 on no news or whatever. Everyone keeps talking about news, myself included. But what if you don't get it? You need to be prepared for it not getting it. It still seems like we would get some at some point, but you don't even know how the market reacts to it, right? Who knows how meaningful it's going to be? So sometimes this can just go on, and if the stock breaks, then the technical analysts or the marginal buyers, they'll just sell off. They go, I was in this for the squeeze, or I was in this. That's why that stuff's marginal. It's sideshow stuff. And so they just sell off for the same reason they bought in. They bought in because of these unique characteristics. They'll sell off just as quickly. That's important to realize. So when that stuff, anyway, that's what I was just getting at. That it's nice that this time around, you got that bullish backdrop. So I'm more kind of dialed into like how's it reacting. That's why I shared this one at first, because I'm like, this is holding up okay for my analysis. Again, relative to how it was holding up the past like 18 months, every time get his ass kicked. I'm like, all right. And then March and April happened. I'm like, look out, GameStop. For a while, it was holding up okay, and then it just collapsed just like everything else, right? Anyways, my point, yeah, it's hard. It's hard enough to withstand a market sell-off, right? But it's a little bit more easier if you're in a stronger uptrend. But at the end of the day, GameStop's still a risky stock, so that's why you kind of see at least some of this. It explains some of this price action, right? Okay. Oh, no problem.